those different complex feelings can all exist of there's difficulty coming, there's enjoyment right now, there's confusion and whatever that may be, but allowing those feelings to visit and exist and just being grateful to be able to experience those different feelings and things. I think some of us need a reminder sometimes that this is how life feels. When we constantly live in the next, that can seem like such enjoyment and such excitement, like I have something to look forward to, but it can also put you in a survival mode and not a thriving mode when you're constantly waiting until Friday, anxious about Monday, or waiting until you complete this degree, waiting until you accomplish this goal. You can find yourself constantly trying to just work through the day and make it through the day instead of actually enjoying what's in front of you. And this is something that sparked my interest lately because I find myself lately kind of going into a survival mode versus a thriving. And something that I am anticipating lately is taking my MFT exam. And I'm so excited about just being done. And it's coming up so quickly that I found myself not enjoying life until this particular thing is accomplished. And it's not extreme, but it can look like trying to just survive the day and trying to just get through and not really enjoying certain things because I have this looming test hanging over my head. And, we do that in certain situations where we put so much pressure on ourselves to just hold our breath until the next accomplishment that we forget everything in between. And this is such a special time with my family and I in just learning different things about ourselves, entering a new season and having a baby. God willing, everything goes well, and just entering this season of motherhood in my marriage. And it's so important to take in every little thing that we can and to not make things kind of force us or, trick us into going into that survival mode. So we have to ask ourselves, are we constantly looking forward to the next? And then remind yourself of the history. Once you get that thing, then what? Right? Life keeps moving and there's another next that pops up if we really don't sit with it and enjoy the life in the moment that we have now. So one key point that I want to make is that goals chase outcomes and rhythms create lifestyle. And that's so important to remember is that when we have goals, we're looking for something to happen. We're looking for something to change, and we're waiting for that particular thing to happen until we can experience that change and that abundance and that goodness. But when we create a rhythm, it creates a certain lifestyle to where we can appreciate things as they come and in every single moment instead of postponing that appreciation until that ball drops or that thing happens or whatever it is that we're anticipating instead of enjoying and creating a rhythm in our life right now. So instead of, I'm going to read 10 books this month, it can be, I'm going to set aside this many minutes a day to spend time enjoying my book and to spend time enjoying what I'm consuming and really think and ponder on it. Sometimes we get so caught up in the accomplishment that we can't even enjoy the road it takes to get there. And some things do need an amplified version of enjoyment when you do them. It's nice to amplify driving to work because you don't want to wait until you have to lose your car, God forbid, or where you have to walk somewhere and you don't have transportation until you appreciate what you have. And that's so important to me too, is this prayer that I say to God is, God, please don't make me lose it until I have to appreciate it. Let me appreciate it now. And that encompasses my vision, my mobility, every aspect about my life is breeding gratitude daily and creating this rhythm of this lifestyle that I can enjoy. I don't want to take things for granted. And a lot of the time we do. And a lot of the times we do. And I found myself kind of doing that in this season of exams coming up and all of these different transitions, and just like, oh, I can't wait until it's over. But once I caught myself using that language and I said, wow, it's really about the journey. And I took a look back on my history and I said, when I completed my bachelor's or whatever and did these things, then life continued. Life went on. It didn't add this new factor of, new things and new fresh eyes on the world. Life went on. And my mom always used to say that is, once you get that thing, then what? Like if we started off with everything we wanted, there would be no thrill, no excitement, no joy, no learning and enduring and growing and developing and all of these important things that make us human along the way. It's not about just attaining things and waiting until. It's about enjoyment of now and appreciation and gratitude for what is happening and for what is going on. And that is truly thriving. It's about enjoying those moments when I come home from work and my husband's here, or he comes home from work, or we eat dinner together, or I'm reading a book by myself. Whatever it is, it's enjoying those moments and not taking them for granted, because I know life can be so different and life is so different for everyone. And we're all going to have seasons of good and bad. And let's not wait for those seasons of bad to really appreciate and amplify those seasons of good. Let's learn how to thrive in the day to day life. And thriving doesn't look like, oh, everything is perfect, everything is great, and just, letting go of this realistic view of life. But it does look like pondering on things that are imperfect, and maybe giving it some thought of like, yeah, my exam coming up is difficult, and I am going to put in my work and exercise faith towards God, and hopefully it'll work out well. Like those different complex feelings can all exist of, there's difficulty coming, there's enjoyment right now, there's confusion and whatever that may be, but allowing those feelings to visit and exist, and just being grateful to be able to experience those different feelings and things. And even when things are unsavory, we handle that differently also. But in our day to day life, how do we handle our monotony, our mundane tasks? Is work constantly a source of dread? Is cooking dinner constantly a source of dread? Is, picking up the kids or whatever constantly a source of dread? What is it that is getting you in this survival mode? Analyze it, take it into consideration of, why is my brain constantly in this mode? And why am I constantly unsatisfied? There's so many things that you can work toward and figure out and process in seasons of difficulty. I can think of so many things in my life already, in my couple of years of living, that have been such an edifying experience for me. I remember one particular thing, where I had moved out and I thought I had it all figured out, and literally came back home in like a week. And it was very chaotic, very messy, but in that embarrassment, in that shame, in such a wonderful season of the year too, it was around Christmas, but in all of that spending money and confusion and embarrassment and failed plans, I was at such a version of peace with myself and honesty and transparency. I think that you can thrive when you're honest with yourself. That survival may sometimes look like hiding from emotion, hiding from truth, hiding from opinion, and trying to pretend. And that is so much work, because you're constantly trying to prove, versus thriving is acceptance that things didn't go the way I wanted, honesty, transparency, and not saying you have to tell everyone your business, but just being real in the moment, even with yourself of, yeah, I maybe I shouldn't have went about it that way. And I really thought it was a good way, but I wonder what I could have done differently. I wonder what went wrong. And questioning those things. You don't have to label yourself as good or bad or this or that, but just allowing yourself to sit with different feelings, in my opinion, is thriving, because then you're not trying to bury this scary version of yourself or convince and prove otherwise. You're sitting with it and recognizing the complexities of your humanhood, if that's even a word. So I think that it's very important for us to take a look at how we navigate and get through our day. Are we in this mode of waiting until next, and we're not satisfied until, and I can't wait until that's over? And this feeling of constantly being future focused in a way that totally dismisses today. Let's not have to lose things to be appreciative for them. Let's not have to wait till we get somewhere to then look back and reminisce on the journey, because I'm sure there are many beautiful things that you can point out right now. Um, I have just been going through such a weird season of life since January. Since the beginning, all 2025, I know God put me on his strong warrior list this 2025. And I'm not even mad at it, because I appreciate the lessons and I appreciate God teaching me. And hopefully it doesn't get too much heavier, but I am grateful that God can teach me and I can learn and I can be receptive and I can listen and thrive in knowing that even the difficulties and the trials are teaching me something and shaping me into who God wants me to be. So that gives me such a spirit of zeal and excitement to just say, you know what? Another curveball. And really, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Is what I try to tell myself. And it isn't, right? Everything is relative, but such a huge part of thriving begins with switching your mindset from a place of I have to survive versus I get to grow. I get to grow. And even if it is difficult, even if this isn't the way I would like to take, even if this is a detour, there's lessons I learn here and I get to grow in this. And every day that's maybe uncomfortable for you to perform at work because you have imposter syndrome, or or maybe there are tasks that are coming up that are feeling too big, like you're not qualified, but you were selected and you get to grow. And that is such a huge part in just my journey of thriving and not surviving, is sometimes at work feeling unqualified and feeling, um, different things that put us in this mindset of, I have to survive. Let me get through, versus this is me building endurance. You don't have to fall into that trap of living day by day and not knowing or feeling anxiety on what to do next. Don't normalize burnout and anxiety and overworking. I think that sometimes is so glamorized in our culture, is like, I'm so tired, I've done so much, I'm doing so much. And it's like, rest, breathe. That is not a reward to be the most tired person in the world. Take time for yourself, rest. And even if you can't, I did a video about what rest kind of looks like, and find that in Jesus, find that in God, because sometimes rest for us all can't be putting our feet up and going on vacation and doing these particular things. Sometimes rest just looks like freedom from proving, freedom from opinion, freedom from fighting the narrative that other people are trying to write for you, and living your life in truth and honesty and in confidence the way that you can. And there's also that aspect of being realistic with yourself. If you're constantly overwhelmed, if you're constantly anxious, if you're constantly waiting until, what does your environment look like? Are you decluttering? Are you living in chaos? Are you eating unhealthy foods? There's so many different layers to what survival mode can look like for people. And it's not just the Monday blues, sometimes it's a deeper health issue or an environment issue or things that are around us that are just not making us feel good. And we have to be mindful of that and take that into consideration on what can I do to not feel like this all the time. Thriving isn't about the absence of struggle. It's about the presence of intention, hope, and joy. It's about how you're going through life and not just trying to make it through life, because what does that even mean at the end of the day? I hope that this video is helpful for you, and I hope that it can expand a conversation in the comments below. Also, there's such a deeper conversation to be had about it. But again, hopefully this just opens up the door. And I hope that you begin to thrive and not just survive, because it is possible for you and you don't have to live in the future. You can live right now. So have a good one and enjoy your day. And please leave a comment down below.